If you're asking yourself, what is the best Facebook ads targeting strategy to get more leads, and you're a course creator, do not make this mistake because most course creators, they'll jump into Facebook Ad Manager and start looking at interest-based targeting, maybe stacking a few interests together that are related, job titles, demographics, like age or interest, whatever. But actually, there's a much better way to start off targeting if you want the best kind of leads. And as a Facebook and Instagram ads manager who primarily has served established online course creators for the better part of 6-ish years, I'm going to break down in this video the best targeting strategies that I would use, that I do use when I start out managing ads for established course creators. And at the end, I'll share some questions that I was asked regarding this content. You'll be able to understand the best targeting that could work for you, depending on how far along your business is. So hi, my name's QUAY.jo. Let's get started. Now, here's why interest-based targeting tends to fail. I wouldn't start with this, but I'll tell you more about that in a moment. It tends to fail because when you are inside of Meta Ad Manager looking at the detailed interests and you just start clicking, or you type in one interest and Meta starts suggesting other interests, what's happening is Meta is suggesting the most popular interests. And those are the most expensive ones to target because remember, you're bidding for space in somebody's Instagram or Facebook feed or threads now. Though we're not really using threads placements quite yet because they aren't converting so well. But since you're bidding for space, the last thing you want to do is take Meta's suggestions because those are broad, general suggestions that it gives to about anyone who types in something related to what you typed in the interest-based targeting. And then you're competing, right? So your ads will be more expensive. Just honestly, do not start with interest-based targeting. It's the hardest one to do right. I'm going to give you some better approaches that you can start with. I personally result to interest-based targeting as a last result if these first options do not work. And the first option, by the way, is to build a lookalike audience off of someone's custom, or I call them core audiences. Because the easiest way to inform the algorithm about who you want to target is to give it a valuable custom audience, right? And so here are the most valuable custom audiences. And then you understand, if you don't already, what I mean by custom audiences. So inside of Meta, you can create custom audiences. And think of it like this, because the way you think really will give you the strategy, no matter what changes happen to Meta Ad Manager. Right now, it's fall of 2025, but as long as you think strategically, you can be watching this video and still make good choices in 2028. Okay, so your most valuable audience would be the people who have made the most or most committed decisions to get involved with you inside of your business ecosphere. So obviously, somebody who's bought a product from you would be the most valuable person to your business because they paid you money. So if you have a email list of purchasers, then those are the most qualified leads in your business, right? And so if you upload that list to Meta and then build a lookalike of that list, that logically would be the best lookalike audience to test. Now, before I give you 4 more audiences that you can test, let me give you some criteria about the type of audience, if it's big enough, if your custom audience is big enough to test, and break down lookalike audiences for you. So when I say a lookalike audience, that is just an audience of cold people who are not familiar with your business. They haven't followed you on social media, they are maybe haven't been to your website, haven't seen your videos yet. And you build a lookalike based off of a custom audience, people that are familiar with your business. And the concept here is that if I take a warm audience, let's say an email list, I upload that to Meta and I say, hey, Meta, go ahead and give me an audience of 1 million or 2 million more people who share similar attributes to this custom audience that I have given you, this audience that I own. Please don't upload other people's email lists that you don't own. You don't own those email lists. That's violating Meta's policy. You will get yourself in trouble. So you might be saying, QUAY.jo, my business is new, and I've heard that you have to have a certain sized email list before you can upload it to Meta. And that is correct. I actually was asked this question, and I'm going to address it towards the end of this video in a moment, okay? So upload your purchaser email list to Meta. The next most valuable custom audience or email segment to test would be your entire email list. Now, this is the one that I usually start with because although my online course creator clients for Facebook and Instagram ads are established, if somebody is selling a high ticket offer, $1,000 or even a mid tier offer around $500, they might not have tons and tons and tons and tons of purchasers of that offer in order for their business to be really profitable, right? So we tend to start out with an entire email list. Take that email list, upload it to Meta, and then build a lookalike audience off of that. Now, if you're starting out and your email list isn't super big, again, I'll get to size of the email list and what it should be minimum to build an audience later on in this video, you can always look at the other valuable audiences that you have. For example, do you have a lot of website visitors? That is a valuable custom audience that you can, or core audience that you can build your lookalike audience off of. And it's an option inside of Meta. Hooray, right on, right? Well, what if you have a big old Instagram following? Okay, well, if you're already crushing it organically on Instagram, especially if you're seeing other signals like you have mini chat or similar tool hooked up to your Instagram Reels and leads are already coming in like that organically, then building a lookalike list off of your Instagram followers or even people who have engaged with your Instagram account recently could be a good option. Nothing is guaranteed here. Okay, here's the disclaimer, but certainly do not just blindly trust a random Facebook and Instagram ads manager on the internet. All right. You're not guaranteed to make money with Facebook and Instagram ads. I am certainly not saying this is gospel and it will absolutely work for you. In fact, I can almost guarantee at some time or another, you are going to lose money. That's the nature of running Facebook and Instagram ads is we test, and by going through what doesn't work, we find what does work, and then we scale that up according to our business goals and profitability. Okay, so following this, I'm going to talk about a couple of pitfalls to avoid, and then we'll get into some questions that I have been asked. And remember, if you need help because you're already running ads and you want to be able to bring in high quality leads at the lowest cost possible and do so testing your ads that have just launched like I would to get to that result even quicker or have a better result, there's a course for you. It's super affordable and it's called the Ad Testing Cheat Code. And your business deserves, well, to have you or even someone in your business, if you already have somebody managing ads, to do this the right way. That link is in the description below. And the cool part, honestly, about this course is that you can test like I would test and be confident that you're testing things in the right order as you launch your ads, right? And then also, if you've peeked inside of Meta Ad Manager, you're quite aware that nothing ever works exactly like you learn it should. There's always surprises, and you actually, inside of the ad testing cheat code, get to see me real time. Well, it's recorded, but in various client accounts, dealing with the randomness that is real life application of solid strategy. And so you see how I would respond to stuff that happened. Okay, so common pitfalls to avoid. You think that the high cost per lead is because of bad targeting when the real issue is super weak visuals or just a weak lead magnet opt-in offer. Whew, this is tough, but it's true and it will save your business money if you heed this advice. Spend some time creating some good looking visuals because those will stop the scroll, right? And then spend some time on the words. A lead magnet that solves a problem. Well, how are you going to decide if that's the best lead magnet to use? You might have chosen the wrong lead magnet. Don't hang out with a wrong lead magnet too long. Don't be afraid to test new lead magnets and don't make them super complicated to test. It should take you a number of days. And look at it like this. If a lead magnet solves a problem, you'll want to think, what are the frustrations of that problem? And I can speak to those frustrations in my ad copy to motivate people to go get the lead magnet, right? But switching lead magnets, that's essentially switching problems. How do you choose? Think about the problem that your main offer solves that you plan on selling later on down the line. And then think about problems that would need to be solved along the way to that main problem. Like if the main offer solves like 10 problems, maybe the lead magnet takes care of one of those problems. Call it a feeder problem. Either way, it could just be that there's a misalignment between your audience that would love to work with you eventually and the lead magnet that you are placing in front of them. And of course, after you're getting leads onto your email list, and this is, I'm about to start talking funnel speak, but bad leads are not good, right? So you need to look and see, are people actually opening your emails? What is your email open rate? Is it around 30%? That's great. If you're paying for leads and thinking you're getting cheap leads and something, well, especially when you look inside of your email CRM, could be Kajabi, could be ConvertKit, could be Active Campaign, could be Flowdesk. Hopefully it's not Flowdesk. Sorry, Flowdesk folks. And nobody's opening your emails, that is an indication that, well, either your subject lines need to be improved or you just have wrong kind of traffic. So look for these things, okay? Now, some questions I've been asked. Here's one. How big does my email list or buyer list need to be before it's worth creating a lookalike audience? Yeah, 600 minimum. So if you don't have 600 buyers, don't do a purchaser list. If you don't have 600 people on your entire email list, you might want to look at a different form of custom audience that you could build a lookalike audience off of. Now, why 600? Well, first of all, when I worked inside of a successful ad management agency, that was the rule. And this was way back before I ran ads for myself. Now, why 600? You got to understand that when you upload an email list to Meta, it's not like all of those users are used to create a lookalike audience off of. Okay, what Meta does is it takes the email addresses and names, whatever other information you upload, but I usually do email addresses and first names, and it attempts to match those email addresses and first names, that data, with actual Meta user accounts, Instagram accounts, Facebook accounts. Okay, so that match rate is not 100%, it's more like 40% to 60%. So if you upload too small of an email list, then the actual users that Meta can pull data from to build a lookalike audience of cold folks who don't know anything about your business and have never heard of you, that core data set is small, and thus the quality of the big old audience, that's 2 million people, will be lower. And you don't want low quality, which is why I, as a best practice, do not upload email lists that are smaller than 600 folks. If you want to stick with the rule of 1,000, then go ahead and upload your email list if it's bigger than 1,000 people. All right. Another question I've seen or heard is that if I don't have enough buyers yet, should I still build a lookalike audience from my email opt-ins or just start with open targeting? Whew. Okay, don't start with open targeting because, in brief, your business, the Facebook pixel, the Meta pixel for your business needs to have tons of data before you can just do open targeting. And if you don't know what open targeting is, that's where you don't specify any detailed interests and you don't upload any email list or lookalike audiences. You just choose age and country and just let Meta do its thing. But it needs a lot of data just to go and do its thing on your behalf and get good targeting for you. So I don't recommend starting with open targeting. At the end of this video, you'll see a Facebook and Instagram ads playlist of videos that I've made, and there will be a specific video on there covering open targeting. If you're watching and you don't see that video yet, it's because I haven't made it, but it should be out in 3 weeks if you're watching on the exact day that I made this video, okay? So if you don't have enough buyers, just build a lookalike audience off of your entire email list or one of the other custom audiences that your business does indeed have. Here's another question. What's the order that I should actually test these audiences in, or do I run them all at the same time? You know, well, the order I just mentioned, but what I see this question as meaning is, do I do them all at once or one at a time? Do them one at a time. Okay. If you did them all at once, you would have to have a big old daily ad spend budget, and you don't want to spend that much money all at once when you're testing. You want to find out what works and then scale up your ad spend. And also, that is a lot of ads management headache and problems if you're running like 7 audiences or 5 audiences all simultaneously on the same day at the same time. Okay, so I would test through these one at a time. And you're probably like, well, how long do I wait until I know it works? Well, that's where I go into detail inside of my course, the ad testing cheat code, link in the description below. But I would say, for a handful of days for each audience, and you should know if it's working well or not. Another question I get is, how do I know if my leads from a lookalike audience are actually good quality? Not just cheap emails that never buy or cheap email subscribers that never buy. And it's good that you're concerned with the return on your investment, not just the cost per lead. Well, one, is your targeting good? Two, is the messaging in your ad copy good? Because if somebody, is scrolling and then they stop because of your video or your graphics, they're going to hopefully read your ad copy and thus find themselves inside of your ad copy. So here's where doing research on your ideal customer and then your ideal lead and accurately communicating what this lead magnet is about and why you can help them, that's worth your time. Write the words. People end up converting. The right people end up converting because of the words. And make sure that on your landing page, this same kind of good communication is also being applied. Well, here's another question. If my social following is bigger than my email list, is it okay to build a lookalike off of that first? Or is it better to wait until my email list is bigger? I think what you're asking is like, which business asset do you use first, right? Even if you have a huge social media following, if your email list is big enough, I would build a lookalike off of the email list first because this is about which custom audience could be the most valuable to you. Test, yes, but if you're limited on time, which we all are, go with your best bet. And my best bet would be folks who have already opted into your email list in some capacity because they either bought something from you before or they opted in for another lead magnet before. Maybe you did some sort of collaboration or you've already had previous webinars, but they're on your email list. So they have made a decision to get on your email list. And you know how it is giving out your name and email. One does not easily give out their name and email or without skepticism, right? So tons of people who are on your Instagram following, albeit engaged and maybe large, like you have 75,000 people on your Instagram following, on your Instagram account. Yeah, okay, but how many of those people have actually decided to get on your email list and taken that next step? I'd stick with building a lookalike off of the email list first and see how that performs. And if you want more strategies from me about how to manage Instagram and Facebook ads, look right there. There's a playlist. Click on that playlist and start watching some of those videos.